16,344. We did a gate of $2 million. The bonuses tonight were $75,000. Knockout of the night went to Koscheck. Submission of the night went to Nate Diaz. And the fight of the night went to Jackson Jones. They all won $75,000 each. So congratulations to them. Nate. Rampage is getting stitches right now. Who's got the first question? Kevin?
Dana, first I want to ask you, it seems like there's nothing John can do. I mean, it seems like every time his performance tops the last one. I was wondering, Rampage seemed to be in great shape, really fought hard, and yet John made it look easy. I wanted to get your reaction.
Yep, and when I went up to the when I went into the ring, he grabbed me and said, "Will you give me my pound for pound respect now?" I said, "I will shut the hell up now." You did it. The great thing for John Jones taking this Rampage fight right now is how serious Rampage took this fight. He's been up here in Denver for a long time, and you saw him when he got into the octagon tonight. He was in great shape. His face was lean, he had abs, and he came to win this fight. He beat the best Rampage. Rampage only cut 6 pounds for this fight. He cut 6 pounds the day of the weigh-ins, which is incredible. So that goes to show you how serious he took this fight. Let me tell you what, John Jones is the man.
Question for John. John, congratulations. To your right. Over here to your right. Congratulations. Number one, obviously you seem like you injured your leg. Can you tell us what happened? And then secondly, I just want to ask you about, you seem like you were using your kicks almost as a jab there to kind of keep Rampage at bay, if you can comment on that.
Just we worked the style that would be Rampage, and it worked. Using my reach and my leg.
Shogun Joe.
The injury itself, when did the injury happen and what's wrong with the leg?
My legs are fine. I kicked some shins and they're just really sore.
Dana, can you talk about Mark Hunt's performance as well as actually Nate's, Josh, and Mark Hunt's performances, especially Mark? I mean, that was incredible, unbelievable.
Thanks for giving me that one. I actually asked Mark to come to this press conference. Many of you probably don't know, or some of you do know, when we bought Pride, he came as part of the Pride deal. And it was back and forth, and basically I was like, you know what, just we'll pay it, and we'll just pay you off what we owed you in the Pride deal. And Mark Hunt said, no, I want to come, and I want to fight. And let me tell you what, man, he did it. The guy's got a ton of heart, and I have a lot of respect for him. And yeah, I really wanted him to be here at this press conference tonight. I have nothing but respect for Mark Hunt, and I'm actually glad that we worked this thing out, and he did fight in the UFC.
Josh and Nate?
What's that?
Your thoughts on Josh and Nate?
Yeah, I mean, awesome to me. Josh knocked out Matt Hughes tonight in the first round. Matt looked awesome in that first round. His stand-up was phenomenal. Looked like it was throwing Josh off, and Josh ended up finishing it. And Nate Diaz looked insane tonight. I mean, he looked incredible. We all know how hard Gomi hits, and Gomi can take your head right off. I think tonight, I think Nate looked better than he's ever looked in any of his fights in the UFC. He looked unstoppable tonight. It was incredible.
Couple questions for the champ, John Jones. Congratulations on your win. So in the run to the fight, there was talk about whether Rampage's power was exaggerated or not. Now that you tasted it, how was Rampage's power?
I thought he had great power.
Comparable to previous opponents you faced?
Yeah. He punched very hard. That was good.
To open the fight, you had this sort of like crouching stance, similar to what even what wrestlers do sometimes at the beginning of a match. What inspired you to begin the match that way, just to confuse Rampage?
Yeah, I had a lot of different ideas of things that I wanted to do, and I figured that he would be his most powerful in the beginning of the fight. And I know that you can't punch down the opponent, so I tried to keep my hand down. And I figured he won't be able to generate too much power at such a low target. I started most efforts to practice aiming so low. So I just tried that, and I was going to try to go for a fake type of shot, fake one way and shoot at the other leg. And it didn't work too well, but shot.
Question for Dana, real quick, last one. Dana, Rampage has said that he wanted to get a rematch with Shogun in Japan. Shogun obviously is busy with Dan Henderson, but should he emerge victorious there, what is your thought on making that match?
He and I just talked about that when he was back there getting stitched up, and you just said it yourself. He's fighting Dan Henderson in San Jose, so we'll see what happens there. But what Rampage said to me is, I want to fight in that Japan fight. So I said, cool. I'm never going to argue with you when you tell me you want to fight. So we can do it. glad to hear him saying that.
For John Jones, with all the banter back and forth and Rampage never having been finished and you saying that you wanted to win by submission, how satisfying was that for you to actually be able to finish him in the way you did?
It was great, man. It was really fun, and there's you gotta believe that you can do things before you can do it, and I just had belief, and I was just trying to be a testament to people, and athletes and kids that you gotta set your mind to goals, and that's the only way you can achieve it.
Question for Josh Koscheck. Josh, you said you wanted that fight with Matt Hughes for a long time. You got it. Showed a lot of class at the end of that fight when you two embraced, and you said something to him. What did you say to him at the end of that fight?
I just told Matt, I was like, hey, thanks for taking the fight. I know it's a great honor to fight you, and you're a true champion, and you're a Hall of Famer, and you'll always be respected in the sport. So thanks for taking the fight. Basically, what I told him. Coming into this fight, on 19 days' notice, it was kind of tough to, know how prepared Matt Hughes was going to be, and I figured that he was going to be prepared very well. So I took this fight very serious, and he had a good game plan, and he threw me off a little bit in the first half of the fight, and man, I'm just blessed that I got an opportunity to come back and show the UFC and show the fans that I'm back, and I'm just looking forward to what's next.
Quick question for Dana. Dana, Matt said that he would think about it. He wants to go on the shelf for a little while, but it sounded like he would like to return. Your thoughts on the future of Matt Hughes?
I think he's going to retire. I just don't think Hughes wants to say the word retire is what I think. There was a lot of talk that this was the last fight of his contract. I don't know if that's true or not, because he's a guy I've never worried about, last fights or whatever. But I just talked to him out in the hallway too, and then he's going to fly out to Vegas in the next month or so and sit down and talk. So, but I'm pretty sure he's going to hang it up without saying retiring.
Hey, you guys, thank you for a great night. This was a lot of fun. Josh, I want to talk to you about your eye. Obviously, that was something that Joe was talking about in the commentary, and also obviously all of us were curious about how it feels, how it felt when you took the first jab, and how you feel, right now.
It was actually, the first jab actually did connect in my eye, and I was like, oh shit, not again. So I was like, oh man, all right, let's get my composure. It's still there, I can still see. So, it's fine. Obviously when you come back from an injury, it's always a concern, but I trained hard with a lot of guys at AK, and we grind up there. It's been tested in training, so I felt that it'd be all right.
And John, how did you feel about the crowd in terms of how they were, toward you? Because it's interesting, there's sometimes some boos in there mixed in. I'm just curious how you felt about the reception here tonight.
It's just sports, I said it before, some people like the Colts, some people like the Patriots, so, some people like you, some people just don't.
Dana and I like the Patriots. It's a good team.
I guess we're eventually Ravens fans.
Of course.
Question for Nate Diaz. Hey Nate, you said you didn't want to fight Gomi because he's a legend and your brother fought him and you had a lot of respect for him. He was a hero of yours when he was in Pride. Can you talk about that fight and can you talk about your jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, Gomi's the legend. He's done a lot of good things, and I gotta fight him because he's trying to fight me, and he's in my bracket. So I was just saying that he lost to a couple guys in the UFC, but he's done a lot cooler things than some of the guys he's lost to, And it's an honor to fight someone like that, where the opponent and a great guy I used to look up to and still do, and I just had to play it smart, and then he'll get you.
Dana, I've got a question. Before you guys came in, some of us here in the media were having an ongoing debate about who's next after Rashad. I think we all look at John, 6'4", and the length of the wingspan, and Rampage gave him a great fight, but Rashad's an inch or two shorter than Rampage. Who in the 205 division do you foresee as a guy that, that's a dude right there that can challenge him later on?
Well, the beauty in the 205-pound division is it's stacked. There's a lot of tough guys out there, and I'll tell you what, Rashad just came off an awesome performance against Tito. I mean, he looked really good, and both these guys want this fight. There's been a lot of smack talking leading into this fight, and then we'll see what happens with Shogun and Dan Henderson. So. there's some talented guys. There's some fun fights lined up at 205 for John. And it's one of the great things about being in a division like that, which if he is what everybody believes he is, I mean, the 205-pound division will end up looking like the 85-pound division, which has had a lot of talent, but it doesn't look like it because the guy who holds the belt is so damn good, he makes it look like it doesn't. So maybe that's what's going to happen. And he's still a young guy, and if he does clean out the division, you know, he and I have talked about possible heavyweight.
Couple questions
Go ahead.
for Mark over here in the back. Before we actually talk about the fight, just curious to get your take on your journey to get to this point in the last couple of years with the losing streak, the Pride deal. You come here, your debut doesn't really go all that well, then you win in Australia, and now beating a guy like Ben Rothwell. Can you put all this into words, what you've gone through over the last couple of years?
Well, it's been a long journey, like I said, just to get here, so I'm still going away, still plugging away at it, so it's been hard.
What do you think of your performance tonight? It seemed that, you know, you came back, but both of you were a little tired, but you were obviously the one who was able to outlast him.
It was a really hard fight. I mean, Ben Rothwell is pretty tough and everything. I threw a lot of heavy shots at him, really hard shots, but he was still there, so I was lucky to climb so early. It was good.
And just one for Josh, have you decided what weight class you will fight in next?
Well, it depends. You know, like I said, I still would like to have some fights at 185. But you know, I don't know what holds the future for me right now. I'm just gonna go home and see about possibly, you know, getting back into the gym and working on areas I need to improve on. And you never know, I might be fighting in November in San Jose.
Question for Mark. There was a moment where there were a couple moments against Rothwell when you were actually doing some grappling on the ground, went for a submission. Was that something you were intending to do? Like going in?
It just happens, you know. It just happens. Things happen, so I just try it.
You're not really known for that. I mean, how much have you been working with yourself?
I've been working a lot on my defenses, you know, off the ground and things like that. So.
And for John, look, were you trying to play mind games with Rampage at some point? It's like a game third round, you dumped him over your head and stuff like that.
No. I was just trying to finish the round strong. You know, show that I had a lot of energy left. So I shot in and in the bell round. So instead of like laying, like, you know, falling down or looking tired, you know, you gotta never show signs of weakness and just finish strong. So that's what we do when we run our hill sprints and everything. You know, the last round is supposed to be our best round. So you start in on a shot, the bell rings or whatever, you just finish strong. Kind of the same similarities to like the NFL. You know, the guy fair catches it, but the guys run up to him anyways, just to show that they were in position. So that was the idea.
Thanks.
Sean Elliott, Fox 31 here in Denver. I had a question for John Jones. I was wondering if you had a specific strategy in place, back here, if you had a specific strategy in place to stand with Rampage for the first 3 rounds and attempt to get a KO, something that you had talked about your power. And I was wondering if the plan was, if you did not get that KO in the first 3 rounds, if your plan was to take him down and sell him in those championship rounds.
No, that wasn't the plan. You know, I definitely wanted to finish the fight. It was a goal of mine. Basically, our strategy was to just fight long and to make each shot count. You know, use a lot of the low kicks to set up higher kicks and you know, shoot straight. You know, Rampage has knocked out some guys in the sport, but he tends to knock them out when they're swinging hooks, and he has that shell defense. So we figured if we shot straight, our chances of landing things will be more successful. So that's why I do a lot of up kicks and a lot of straight punches, because that's the best when you throw enough hooks.
Yeah, question for John. You mentioned, this being the second time Rashad has kind of ruined your special night. Can you expand on that a little bit? I mean, how much can he ruin it by red card?
I don't want to talk about Rashad today.
Hey John, Pat Graham, the Associated Press. How you doing? Congratulations. It looked like you gave Quentin a little kiss on the cheek at the end there, and is that kind of put the end to the bad blood and the beef you guys had?
Yeah, I told Quentin that I admire him so much and that I respect him so much. You know, I tried to play it off like, you it was, these two lions, and there was two lions, but the truth is, I look up to him a lot. I've been watching him for a long time, and that first press conference with him had, he kind of killed me. He was making all the jokes, and I was just like, I didn't know what to do. I was kind of second class from somebody I really looked up to. Then I realized and evaluated that situation and realized that I didn't want to be a victim again, and I would talk back. That's why I did so much talking this training camp. So yeah, I kissed him on the cheek and I just told him, like, dude, basically I was like, I love you, dude. You're like awesome, and such an honor to fight you, and I'm just so glad it's over. And he was like, yeah, man, you're gonna have to go on and be great. And he's like, just humble yourself more and learn how to be better. And I was like, yeah, thank you for the advice, and I kind of apologized if I said anything that really hit home. And it was a good talk, so it was just 100% respect for each other. I'm sure we'll be cool from now on every time we see each other.
John, Gareth Davis from the Daily Telegraph in London. Just wanted to ask you, I was going to ask you what you were speaking about together in the Octagon, because you had quite a long conversation, but carrying on from what you were just saying, do you feel like he handed the torch over to you tonight by saying that to you afterwards?
Yeah, definitely. He definitely handed the torch over. He gave me a lot of respect. He admitted to the crowd that he felt the best he's ever felt. And yeah, he definitely was blessing me with his blessings. He said, we're both children of God, and make sure that you do right with being the champ, and I told him that I would. So it was cool. It was so much respect.
Thank you.
Dana, question for you. A lot of talk about a lot of super fights, and Anderson Silva this, and George St. Pierre that. Now, because of John's dominating performances his last couple of fights, there's obviously going to be some talk about him partaking in a super fight down the road. You, not as the president of the UFC, but strictly as a fan, what would be the super fight that Dana White would want to see the most down the road?
Well, the problem is that, like I said, this division is stacked. John Jones has a lot of fights ahead of him in 205. And, obviously the other guy we'd be talking about would be Anderson Silva, who, a lot of people don't really think about this because the guy's so good. He's 37 years old. So, I don't know. I couldn't answer that question right now, but we'll see.
Sorry I'm late, guys. I had to take a shower because Jones was in the funk on me.
That Old Spice.
Question for John Jones. Hey, John, when you had your walkout song, you looked like you were having a really great time. Was that part of your strategy, coming in light, dancing, throwing your hat up to the fans, and you were slapping five? Can you talk about the entrance?
I'm really trying to teach myself to feel as if I belong there and not to feel nervous, and try to feel as if the crowd's there for me, and to use the energy that I get from the crowd. So, it's all a psychology thing for myself, just to be happy and to really live in the moment, and not think too much, but just live and just be. And that's what I was doing.
Hey Dana, as you were just talking about before, you mentioned Anderson Silva. Anderson came up before to the light heavyweight, and he won when he did that. Instead of John going to heavyweight, why don't we see Anderson Silva? He's clearly the only other person that you can debate is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Why not put the two together?
Yeah, well, again, he's got to beat some of the guys at 205 that are next in line before Anderson Silva moves up there. The guys who have been fighting at 205 for all these years and have those slots deserve the respect to fight for the belt before we do some type of super fight.
Okay, I guess I'll go. Rampage, you told me the other day that if you didn't win tonight, you were going to be the maddest guy in the world, but you actually seem to be in a pretty great mood. So, why is that? And actually, how are you feeling right now?
Oh, I'm not a sore loser. I thought I was going to be really upset and really mad, especially after Jones did exactly what he said he was going to do, finish me and stuff. I haven't been submitted since Sakuraba, and it is what it is. I train really hard. I can't beat myself, but I'm just disappointed. I wanted to make my boxing coach, I want to be his first world champion. So I'm kind of disappointed about that. But other than that, man, I'm just happy because I made a lot of money.
And John, for you, I forgot to ask this earlier. I actually had a conversation with Steven Seagal before the fights tonight. I caught up with him. He said he was planning to go into your locker room and have a few words with you. We know how he is with Anderson, and I'm curious if he said anything to you, what that was.
Yeah, he called me a few days before the fight and just told me that he felt as if I was going to win the fight, and that he that he saw a lot in my skill set and he thought that he could help. And he was wondering if he could come and talk to me backstage before the fight, just kind of give me some encouragement. And I think that would be a good idea. My training staff works very hard on me, and I'm very proud of you. And I wouldn't want to disrespect nobody or quit someone else to our room, to our house, to my family.
John, in the back here. I just want to ask, are you completely 100% happy with your performance tonight? I mean, I compare your demeanor here to maybe in New Jersey, and you had a fun story to tell that night, but you looked like more energetic, maybe a little more happy after that fight. You're a little more serious. I just wonder, are you 100% happy with how things went?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy. I'm happy. Yeah.
Right. Was there a lot of pressure on you on this fight, or?
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure, and but you know, it's over now. It's celebration time. I feel relaxed, and I just can't wait to get home with my family, take an ice bath, and just be done for a while.
Can you talk about how this fight might help you develop as a fighter? I mean, sometimes we forget that you are young, that you haven't had quite as many fights as some others. You went to the 4th round with Rampage tonight. You know, you were successful. I think everybody thought you won each round, but he did have his moments. Can you talk about what this fight will do for you moving forward?
Yeah, you know, it just teaches me a lot about my skill set and things I need to work on. There's a lot of times where Rampage swung at me, and instead of defending technically, I kind of ran like a little girl and turned my I did. It worked. So I need to work on my slipping and evading and comfort in the pocket. The Rampage is so hard, man. I didn't want to try to defend technically. I just got out of the way like a smart man would.
One last question for you, John. You talked about how your teammates said that he was kind of fading out as the 4th round was around to go after him. Did you sense that as well? When did you kind of know that you had him on the ropes, so to speak?
You know, each round things were starting to slow down for both of us. We're both starting to reach fatigue. We're both starting to, you know, weighing each other. And I just felt the takedown. After the takedown, his explosiveness didn't feel very strong. You know, I felt like he was just like, darn it, I'm against the cage and I'm down. And I knew it was going to be hard to fight out of that position. I knew that position. And it really took a lot of energy from him to try to get out of that. And I felt that the moment was coming where anything devastating would have been a major blow to an effort to come back. And I just took it.
A couple of quick ones from Rampage. Can you talk about your confidence level as the fight went on? I mean, you were able to get off your back. You had some moments where you got the crowd excited. Then, you know, as John said, you lost some of your explosiveness. Can you talk about just your mindset throughout the fight?
Well, I was very confident. I was like a couple times I was getting kind of desperate because I wasn't really sticking to my game plan like I trained to do, and it kind of frustrated me myself. John's presence and when he reaches stuff is really hard to deal with. You know, I had guys taller than John doing the same thing and sparring with him, but I guess it's different when you sparring in an actual real fight. So I was getting kind of desperate and stuff in there, but John's wrong. I wasn't fading and stuff like that. I was actually playing possum a little bit because I was hoping he would fade a little bit more. I was going to try to get him in later on in the 4th and 5th round. But when he got on top of me, and you know, I know I had this big cut on my face. John's good at throwing his elbows. I turned so he wouldn't elbow his cut anymore. It was a big mistake on my part.
One more for you, Quinn. After the fight, you said that you know, John Jones is here to stay. He's going to be tough. You don't know who's going to beat him. I mean, when you look at the 205-pound division, can you give your honest assessment on who has a chance to beat him?
I think Rashad is the only person that basically have a chance of beating him because Rashad trained with him before, so Rashad knows. So other than Rashad, I don't see anybody beating this kid straight up because I thought he was all hype. Straight up, I'm keeping it real here. I thought he was all hype. The kid is tough. He's very talented. He even hit me one of the spinning back elbows. It didn't hurt, but he still hit me with it. I trained against it, and I thought I had his number. But yeah, you know, I raised my hand up to this guy. I took my head off to this guy. He's good.
John, maybe if I could just follow up a little bit. I mean, this was such an emotionally charged fight, and we're used to seeing you, you know, with long, eloquent, emotional answers, and you just seem very relaxed at this point in time. And what is your mindset? Can you help us understand your mindset and your emotions right now? This would seem to be one of the biggest wins of your career, and you just kind of laid back up.
Yeah, well, like I said, man, my feet are hurting right now. They're both pretty sore, and you know, me and Rampage did a lot of talking, and I'm just glad it's over, really. I'm just doing my job right now.
I could talk to Mark, please. So Mark, can you maybe walk us through your mindset as well? You touched on it earlier, but a lot of people in this world, if their boss offered them a paycheck and said don't show up, they'd be pretty happy with that. And you obviously pushed it the other way and said, no, I got to be there. So, I mean, could you talk to us about that mindset and you know, how you went through that decision-making process?
Actually, I feel like talking about that.
He's a man of many words.
I feel like talking about it.
Well, you know what? I let.
It's been hard, but that's better.
And here's the thing about him too, and I'll say it because listen, I'm the one. He came in and I heard that he trained with the American top team. He went down there and worked hard. He came into the UFC and, like Ariel said or whoever said it earlier, went through this losing streak. He said, "Listen, you're part of the Pride deal. We'll pay you to stay home." You know, he said, "No, I want to come in and I want to fight and I want to earn this money." And he did it. And you know, I give him all the respect and the credit in the world, man. And I'm, like I said before, I'm glad that he opted to come over here and fight. And I'm proud that he fought in the UFC. And I asked him to come here tonight. So if he won't say it, I will.
And finally for Nate, please. Nate, can you talk to us maybe what your life has been like the last couple of weeks? Obviously, there's been a lot of things going on with your camp, and you know how that affected your preparation and your mindset coming into tonight.
I just try to stay focused and do what I gotta do. You know, train. Shit happens. I think that George kind of dodged a bullet a little bit. You know, and he really didn't have much to say about it. The fight getting switched up on him, but that kind of trimmed me out a little bit. But besides that, I just stay focused and try to stay training hard.
And can you talk about your mindset through the fight tonight? Because you mentioned, you know, Gomi hits hard. You came out being very respectful. By the end, I mean, you're taunting him and working him over in boxing. I think a lot of us thought you were going to try to take to the ground, which you did, but you were working him over on the feet too. So, you know, talk to us how your mindset went as the fight was going on.
Yeah, I know he's good. He's dangerous, and he's got a lot of knockouts. So, but I do know he's wild. So it's like, you know, I had to be smarter than him. Try my best not to get caught with, you know, anything hot. And just take my punches and do things right. Keep a smart head on my shoulders. So pretty much that's it.
And like Dan said, a lot of us think it was the best fight of your career. Does this mean 170 is a thing of the past, or do you think we'll ever see that again?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, 55 for now. There's a lot of the guys I beat are like the top contenders at 55. Melvin Gillard's about to get a title, and Guida, and I beat him, Guida pretty good. So I can't stay at 70 when all the guys from Walter are at the top of the division.
If that was playing it safe, I can't wait till he goes crazy. He punched from the minute the bell rang till the end, till he finished the fight. He was in his face, stopped him the whole time. Put it to him, man. He looked unbelievable tonight.
Playing it smart. I was trying to play it smart because I hate you.
Well, reckless speed, right?
Yeah.
Dana, there was some talk that without a main event currently right now for UFC 140 in Toronto, that perhaps the winner of tonight's main event would take Rashad on December 10th. But with Rashad having a cast go to
Who said that?
rumors going out there.
Who made the rumor? I mean, not me.
Is it safe to say that both these two guys are probably lock horns sometime in the new year?
Yeah, I would think that, I don't know, you know, he just said it, his feet are hurting. He wants to go hang out with his family for a little while. You know, you give these guys a few weeks to relax, and then, you know, especially after a fight like that. You know, like I said, Rampage came in great shape tonight. Came in to fight, came in to knock him out, and those two went at it, man. They, you know, the fight went into the fourth round. It was a tough, hard fight. So we'll see what happens. And the thing about Toronto, people are chirping about the Toronto card. When do we not deliver? We always deliver. We're going to bring a good main event there. Everybody will be happy. They were saying the same thing about San Jose. Relax. And no, I didn't start the rumor that Rashad and Jones were fighting up there if Jones won tonight.
Reno Notaro with FM 93.7 Mile High Sports Radio in Denver for Rampage. You said you were going to get crunk tonight. What does that entail?
Me and a whole lot of alcohol. Yeah, like girls maybe. Yeah, I know I like the motorboat. I'm just gonna have fun. I got a lot of family here. Come on, Dan. Y'all know I'm gonna have fun. I got a lot of family here and stuff like that, so I haven't seen them for a while, so I'm gonna have fun tonight.
Dana, Brandon Cristal, 104.3 The Fan here in Denver. What do you think of the show that Denver put on, and how soon do you think you guys might be back?
I don't know, but this is a great market for us. We love it here. The place it was so loud during the Rampage Jones fight. My ears hurt when I went back into the thing. It was like we were at a concert tonight. It was awesome in here. So yes, we will be back at our event.
And couple questions for Quentin. One, you said the other day that after the fight you tell us who the spy was. You don't divulge that now?
I already said who it was on ESPN. Some dude named Leonard. He's friends with John Jones' manager.
And then your defense tonight, it seemed like you ducked a couple could have been knockout blows. Was that all strategy or a little bit of luck or a little bit of both?
Kiss my ass. I don't know, man.
That'll do for us, D-Man. You're the instigator.
Who wants to follow up that question?
John, Paul Willis from the Denver Post. There's two big wins in Colorado for you, also the Vera win last year. Do you like it here, and do you notice anything different about fighting at altitude?
No, I do like it here. You know, I trained in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I'm not sure. Is Albuquerque higher or not?
Yeah, it's the same.
Is it the same? Some people say it's higher. But yeah, it felt great, man. My cardio held strong. I was backstage watching a lot of guys get tired, so it was good to see that just simple, hard-nosed Albuquerque training can have me prepared for Denver. So it was great. I had a good time.
Hey, Dana, we were just talking about 205. There's one guy out there not a lot of people mention, Phil Davis, undefeated. He was a little nicked up. That's why he didn't fight Rashad. How's Phil doing right now, and where is he in the mix of things?
He's doing good, and he's got a fight coming up here. Anybody know who's fighting? You guys usually know better more than I do. No? Yeah, he's fighting. We got him slated to fight here soon. And yeah, no, that's another guy. He's a big, strong guy, 205 pounds too, good wrestler. So yeah.
Dana, I've got a little bit of a follow-up question on that. I know there are some media in here that cover UFC exclusively. There's some that are, because this event's here.
Right.
So
I understand.
enlighten us on how, you're talking about 205 and who can take on John Jones. How are you guys finding talent?
Well, as this thing continues and grows, the sport gets bigger and bigger, not just here, around the world. A lot of people don't realize this, people that don't cover the sport all the time. We're in 155 countries in 22 different languages and over 500 million homes worldwide on television. So this thing's a lot bigger than people in the mainstream realize it is. Not to mention the fact that since the first UFC and since we've taken over 10 years ago, this is the new martial art. When you were growing up, you get into karate or kung fu or kickboxing or whatever it is. This is the new martial art the kids are taking. And we've already had a whole generation grow up training in mixed martial arts, watching mixed martial arts. And what's starting to happen now is guys that would have, if you look at his family, guys that would have played football or baseball or basketball are now getting into mixed martial arts instead. So the level of athlete just keeps getting better and better and better. So for those that don't know, that's
So are you guys being reactive? I mean, does your team just receive intake from different fighters?
Well, here's another example of how big this sport's becoming, and a lot of people don't realize this either. I'll give you an example. When we go out, we're the industry leader. When we go out and we spend a bunch of money to open up a new territory, whether it's a state here in the United States or somewhere else in the world, I'll give Ohio's a perfect example. We went into Ohio and did our first fight. There were something like 230 fights that year. We did one. That's how many mixed martial arts events are going on. And that's not just Ohio, that's California. I think California had more. And the list goes on and on and on. And those are happening all over the world. Every Saturday there's a fight going on somewhere, and there's some new talent coming up. These guys fight in these smaller shows. Now, as technology continues to get better, we used to have to watch tapes on these guys. Now they're all on the internet, and it's bigger than people realize.
Dana, over here.
Yeah.
HTV Brasil, I would like to know, after the huge success in Rio de Janeiro, I assume that UFC is going back to Brazil, but I would like to know in which city that would be, in São Paulo, Manaus, both cities. What do you say about that?
We're working on that right now. We don't know where it's going to be. We're still debating on which city we should go to, and every time we talk to somebody from Brazil, they all have different input on it. But we're working on that now. But we're definitely coming back. We predict that's going to be one of the biggest markets in the world for us, and We're excited.
Do you know when that's gonna be?
No, no.
No?
No, we're working on it now.
One city to two cities, São Paulo?
We're going everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna travel all around Brazil.
All right.
UFC Japan, we're doing it.
I want to fight in Japan.
He told me that. Yep. What's that? Yeah, I know. All the guys who used to fight over there want to fight there, and guys who never fought there want to fight there. So, I don't know. We're still working on that card. But like I said, I like when our guys are coming saying, hey, we want to fight here, we want to fight there. I like it. So we'll see.
How did you manage to have like this because last few years, since we acquired Pride, it's past about 5 years, and the early stage, we had some issue over there.
Yeah, you know how tough the market is there, and what did I tell you? Every time you ask me the question, I said, we're not going to stop. Despite what they do over there, we're going to keep fighting, and we're going to keep coming over there. And trying to go there, and now we're going, it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen.
Dana, Heidi Fang with Sirius XM Satellite Radio. I wanted to ask about the expansion with the UFC on Fox. We have the Henderson and the Rita fight, and then Junior Dos Santos and Kane. You said that you don't know how you're going to round out the rest of the hour yet, or live streaming. I was curious if there is any new developments with that.
Well, no, there's only going to be one fight on Fox. It's only going to be the heavyweight championship. We've talked. We're still working on the production and what we're going to do if that fight ends in 30 seconds. We'll see. We're working on it. It's been. Let me tell you what. It's been a lot of work getting ready for this thing, and I've been spending a lot of time in LA when I'm not traveling around to these fights. But I guarantee you, again, like I said at the press conference for that one, I know that we went with the right fight. I know this is going to be a great fight with these heavyweights, and just putting this thing together now. We'll see. You'll have to find out that night what happens.
I got a question. Jones, what the hell was you doing in the beginning of the first round? I sucked my toes or something.
Hey man, I was kind of scared. I ain't gonna lie. No, I was joking. I didn't want to get hit with one of your bombs, man. I know you hit hard, so I was like, let me stay low. It was kind of like James Toney versus Randy Couture. How Randy just shot in low. Man. Like, this is our James Toney. I'm not about to get left hooked.
What the hell is this kid doing? I'm trying to knock his head off.
But speaking of funk, I thought I could smell your feet. And I was like,
you better watch out for that left foot. That funk is on there. I don't know where it came from.
that gangrene.
Hey, were you surprised by my wrestling though?
It wasn't bad. I shot one shot and you stuffed me nice. I was like, cool.
That's what she said.
No comment.
Dana, before the fight, Matt Hughes said he would entertain the possibility of a catchweight fight, but not at 175, closer to 165. If he presents that to you as an option to continue, maybe just one more fight, does that interest you at all?
I honestly think that if Matt Hughes were to beat Josh Koscheck tonight, we'd be talking about who Matt was fighting next. There's no doubt about it. I know that guy. I've known him for over 10 years, and he's a competitor. He's really, really upset. He said, do you want me to go to this press conference? I said, dude, if you want to come to the press conference, you can come. I said, I'd rather go. He's really upset. He wanted to win this last fight, and I'm almost 100% positive he's going to retire. I don't think he's going to do anything else. We'll take one more question. Anybody got one more?
Yes, one here.
We got this guy right here. We'll do two more questions.
Just a quick question for Rampage. Rampage, John, he doesn't want to talk about Rashad, but now that you've got kind of extensive history with both of them, can you talk about what your feelings are on them matching up?
Honestly, Rashad has turned over a new leaf. I've been hearing him in the press and stuff like that, but I'm known to keep it real. When it comes to fighting, even though John ran like a little girl every now and then, but I still got more respect for him as a fighter. Because John did come to bring it and got me sore. He rocked me once, and he's a true fighter. Rashad, I was really rusty and something like Rashad actually would have done a better job, and he probably would have knocked me out that time had he fought me. I had some injuries coming to the fight, but I didn't want to say nothing. I didn't want to pull out the fight because the fight with Rashad was like so anticipated, and I did that move, and I didn't want to let my fans down. So Rashad actually dropped the ball. He could have been the first guy to finish me in the fight had he pressed it a little bit. But I have to say I gained respect for Jones, as you guys can see, because he actually fought me and did some great stuff. So, but saying that, I don't know. I don't see anybody that can beat Jones, honestly. But Rashad say he got his number though. That's what he say. I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing that fight now.
I will say this about Rashad. He doesn't have my number. He's not even close to having my number. Me and Rashad, we sparred a few times, and every time we sparred, I know what could happen. He talks about one day at practice where he held me down, and he lives that day in his head every day. So, we'll see.
Question. Talk about Rashad, man. You guys did it.
Question for Page. How special is it going to be for you to fight Mauricio Shogun in Japan?
You said what? Say that?
How special is it going to be for you?
How
fight?
special?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's whoa.
Answer it.
Time out. You're making shit up back there. That's not what I said. Dan Henderson's fighting Shogun in San Jose, and then we'll see what happens. He wants to fight Japan, and then we'll see what happens.
I want to fight
How
Shogun.
special would it be if he should win and you should fight him? Rephrasing the question.
Okay. It would be very special because I got a lot of respect for Shogun, but another thing, like me, I know every time, this is my first time losing a fight when I've been in the best shape of my life. But another time, I got great excuses for him. And Shogun, I should have backed out of that fight, but you know what I'm saying, that's been one that hunted me for a long time, so I want to rematch Shogun in Japan. That'd be like a dream come true, but I didn't know he was fighting Dan Henderson.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate your support.
Thanks for coming, guys.